So, you want to retire early. You're 58 years old, you've put in the years, and you think you're ready to walk away. But then the fear sets in. You start asking yourself, do I actually have enough? What if the market tanks? What is this transition really going to cost me when the paycheck stops and the real life begins? Listen to me, the first year of retirement is not just a financial transition, it is a psychological battlefield. You are moving from a life of accumulation to a life of distribution, and if you don't understand the exact numbers, that fear will keep you paralyzed or, worse, lead you into a financial mess you cannot crawl out of. We retired at 58. Not 65, not 67, but 58. And I am going to tell you exactly, to the penny, what that first year cost us, because you need to stop guessing and start knowing. When you retire before Medicare kicks in at 65, your biggest, most terrifying unknown is healthcare. People think, oh, I'll just get a plan. No! You need to understand that without an employer subsidizing your premiums, you are on the hook for the full boat. For us, at 58, that meant looking at the ACA exchanges. We weren't just paying a copay anymore, we were looking at premiums that felt like a second mortgage. In that first year, healthcare alone cost us nearly $18,000 between premiums and out-of-pocket deductibles. If you are sitting there at 55 or 58 thinking you can retire without a dedicated healthcare bridge fund, you are kidding yourself. You must have liquid cash, not money tied up in a 401k that you'll be penalized for touching, but accessible cash to cover those years until Medicare. Now, let's talk about the honeymoon phase spending. Everyone tells you that you'll spend less in retirement. You won't be commuting. You won't need work clothes. Stop. That is a myth for the first year. When you first get your freedom, you want to use it. You want to travel, you want to see the grandkids, you want to finally fix that deck. Our discretionary spending, the fun stuff, actually spiked by 20% in the first 12 months. We spent $12,000 on travel and home projects that we had been putting off for a decade. Why? Because for the first time in our lives, we had the time, and we felt rich because we weren't working. But here is the danger: if you treat your retirement accounts like an endless ATM in year one, you are stealing from your 80-year-old self. You have to set a fun budget and stick to it with discipline, or the what-ifs will come back to haunt you when the market takes a dip. Then there is the house. You think your house is an asset? Your home is a place to live, but it is also a money pit if you aren't careful. We had our mortgage paid off, which is a must if you want to retire at 58 with peace of mind, but the hidden costs didn't go away. Property taxes went up. Homeowners insurance in this climate? It skyrocketed. We spent $9,500 just on taxes, insurance, and basic maintenance, like a water heater that decided to quit the month after I retired. If you don't have an emergency fund of at least 12 months of living expenses sitting in a high-yield savings account, you have no business retiring early. You need that safety sandwich, cash on the bottom, investments on the top, to protect you from having to sell your stocks when the market is down just to fix a leaky roof. The total for our first year? It came out to $72,000. That covered healthcare, the house, the travel, the food, and the life we wanted to live. But here is the actionable takeaway you need to hear right now: we didn't just hope it would work. We did a dry run for 2 years before we actually quit. We lived on exactly what we thought our retirement budget would be while we were still working, and we saved every extra penny of our salaries. That told us the truth. It stripped away the fantasy and showed us the reality of our spending habits. If you are afraid, good. Use that fear to get honest. Look at your bank statements from the last 12 months. Subtract your work expenses, but add in the cost of private health insurance and an extra 15% for freedom spending. If that number makes you sweat, you aren't ready yet. You need to work 1 more year, or you need to downsize your expectations. Retirement at 58 is a gift, but only if you have the courage to face the numbers today so you can sleep soundly tomorrow. Stand in your truth, track every penny, and make sure your money is working as hard for you as you worked for it.